ஹாய் கைஸ், நம்ம ரீசெண்டாக நம்ம யூனிக் ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ்க்காக ஒரு ஸ்பெஷல் இண்டஸ்ட்ரி எக்ஸ்பர்ட் இன்ட்ராக்ஷன் ப்ரோக்ராம் நடத்தினோம். இந்த இன்ட்ராக்ஷன் ப்ரோக்ராமில் என்னுடைய காலேஜ் மேட் மிஸ்டர் யாசிர் கரண்ட்டாக சாம்சங்கில் ஒரு ப்ராடக்ட் மேனேஜர் ஒர்க் பண்ணிக்கிட்டு இருக்காரு. இவர் அவருடைய எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸை நம்ம ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ்கிட்ட லைவாக ஷேர் பண்ணார். யாசிர் பேசிக்கலாக நிறைய யூரோப்பியன் கண்ட்ரீஸில் ஒர்க் பண்ணியிருக்காரு. ஈவன் இந்தியாவில் எல்லா ஆல் மெட்ரோபாலிட்டன் சிட்டிஸில் ஒர்க் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க. மும்பை, பூனே, தென் பெங்களூர், சென்னை எல்லாத்தையும் ஒர்க் பண்ணியிருக்காரு. ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ் நிறைய கொஸ்டின்ஸ் அவர்கிட்ட லைவ் இன்டராக்ட் பண்ணாங்க. அந்த இன்டராக்ஷன்ஸ் எல்லாமே நீங்க அப்கமிங் இந்த வீடியோல பார்க்க போறீங்க. ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ் கேட்ட நிறைய கொஸ்டின்ஸுக்கு யாசிர் வந்து லைவா பிராக்டிக்கலா அவரோட எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் வச்சு நிறைய கிளாரிட்டியா ஆன்சர் பண்ணியிருக்காரு. அதை பார்த்தீங்க அப்படின்னா உண்மையிலேயே ஒரு ப்ராடக்ட் மேனேஜர் ரோலுக்கு உங்களுக்கு என்னென்ன தேவை அப்படின்றது ரொம்ப கிறிஸ்டல் கிளியரா புரிஞ்சிடும். நிறைய ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸுக்கு ஒரு மிஸ்கன்செப்ஷன் இருக்கு. அது என்ன அப்படின்னா, இந்த ப்ராடக்ட் மேனேஜர் ரோல், ப்ராடக்ட் மேனேஜ்மெண்ட் ரோல் இதுக்கு போகணும் அப்படின்னா கோடிங் தேவையே கிடையாது, இல்லை அப்படின்னா ஒரு ஃப்ரெஷராகவே ஈஸியாக ப்ராடக்ட் மேனேஜர் ரோலுக்கு போயிடலாம் அப்படின்னு, கம்யூனிகேஷன்ஸ் இருந்தால் மட்டும் போதும் ஈஸியாக ப்ராடக்ட் மேனேஜ்மெண்ட்டுக்கு போயிடலாம் அப்படின்பாங்க. அது கம்ப்ளீட்டாக ராங். அது ஏன் ராங் அப்படின்றத இந்த வீடியோவோட இன்ட்ராக்ஷன் பார்க்கும்போது கிளாரிட்டியாக புரிஞ்சிடும். ஒரு நல்ல ப்ராடக்ட் மேனேஜருக்கு ஒரு டெவலப்பர்ஸோட இன்ட்ராக்ட் பண்ண தெரியணும். தென் ஒரு யூஎக்ஸ் டிசைனர்ஸோட கொலாபரேட் பண்ண தெரியணும். மொபைல் ஆப் டெவலப்பரோடைய நல்லா இன்ட்ராக்ட் பண்ண தெரியணும். தென் பார்த்தீங்க அப்படின்னா QA டீம் இருக்கும், பிஸ்னஸ் டீம் இருக்கும், கிளையன்ட் டீம் இருக்கும். இவங்க எல்லாரோடையும் சேர்த்து இவங்க எல்லாரும் கோஆர்டினேட் பண்ணி ஒரு மீட்டிங் ஆர்கனைஸ் பண்ண தெரிஞ்சுக்கணும். இது எல்லாமே தெரிஞ்சாதான் ஒரு நல்ல ப்ராடக்ட் மேனேஜர் ஆக முடியுமே தவிர கோடிங்கே தெரியாது, எனக்கு கம்யூனிகேஷன் வீக்கு அப்படின்னு ஒரு நாலேஜே இல்லாமல் உங்களால் ப்ராடக்ட் மேனேஜ்மெண்ட் ரோலுக்கு போக முடியாது. நீங்கள் ஃபியூச்சரில் ஒரு ப்ராடக்ட் மேனேஜ்மெண்ட் ரோலுக்கு போகணும், ஒரு ப்ராடக்ட் மேனேஜர் ஆகணும், இல்லை ப்ராடக்ட் மேனேஜர்னா என்னன்னு தெரிஞ்சுக்கணும் அப்படின்னா இந்த வீடியோவை எண்டு வரைக்கும் பாருங்கள். இந்த வீடியோவில் ஒரு சின்ன ப்ராப்ளம் இருக்கும். யாசிர் வந்து ஃபுல் அண்ட் ஃபுல் கம்யூனிகேஷன் இங்கிலீஷ்லாம் இன்ட்ராக்ட் பண்ணுவார், சம்டைம்ஸ் தமிழ்லையும் பேசுவான். ஸோ இந்த வீடியோ கிளாரிட்டியாக பாருங்கள், புரியல ரிப்பீட் பண்ணிக்கிறோம் பாருங்கள். கண்டிப்பாக ஒரு ப்ராடக்ட் மேனேஜர் லைவாக அவருடைய எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் உங்களோட ஷேர் பண்ணியிருக்காரு. இந்த வீடியோ கண்டிப்பா உங்களுக்கு யூஸ்ஃபுல்லா இருக்கும் நம்புறேன். ஓகே, லெட்ஸ் கெட் இன்டு தி வீடியோ கைஸ்.
ஹி இஸ் யாசிர், என்னோட காலேஜ் மேட், NIT Trichy பேட்ச் மேட். வேரியஸ் கம்பெனிஸில் ஒர்க் பண்ணியிருக்காரு. ஃப்ளிப்கார்ட்டில் ஒர்க் பண்ணியிருக்காரு. தென் கரண்ட்லி சாம்சங்கில் ப்ராடக்ட் மேனேஜர் இருக்காங்க. தென் வேரியஸ் யூரோப்பியன் கண்ட்ரீஸ், வேரியஸ் கண்ட்ரீஸில் ஒர்க் பண்ணியிருக்காரு. ஸ்பெயின், இட்டாலி, வேற மிஷ்லின், ஓகே மிஷ்லின் கம்பெனிஸ், அந்த கம்பெனியில் ஒர்க் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க. ஃப்ரான்ஸில் ஒர்க் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க. தென் இது எல்லாமே யூரோப்பியன் கண்ட்ரீஸு. இந்தியாவில் he worked in Delhi, he worked in Pune, he worked in Mumbai, then present சென்னையில் இருக்காரு. ஸோ இவங்க எல்லாமே கேட்டு தெரிஞ்சு ரியல் கொஸ்டின்ஸாக கேளு, நல்லா கேளுங்க, என்னென்னாலும் கேளுங்க. பட் ஒரே ப்ராப்ளம்னா இங்கிலீஷ் ஸ்பீக்கிங், அதனால இங்கிலீஷில் கேளுங்க. தப்பாக இருந்தாலும் பரவாயில்ல, இங்கிலீஷில் இன்ட்ராக்ட் பண்ணுங்க. ஈவன் ப்ராடக்ட் கம்பெனி என்ன, சர்வீஸ் கம்பெனிக்கு என்ன டிஃப்ரென்ஸு, யூரோப்புக்கும் இந்தியாவுக்குள்ள டிஃப்ரென்ஸ் கேளுங்க. இப்போ ஒர்க் பண்ணுற கம்பெனிஸ்லாம் எனக்கு தெரிஞ்சு 14 hours ஒர்க் பண்ணுறாங்க சாம்சங்கில், அவ்வளோ ப்ரெஷராக இருக்கும். ஸோ அங்கெல்லாம் எப்படி டீல் பண்ணுறாங்க, ஏன்னா கொரியன் பேஸ்ட் கம்பெனி, ஸோ அங்கே இருக்க ப்ரெஷர் எப்படின்னு கேளுங்க. ஏஐயோட இம்பேக்ட், இவங்க கம்பெனி சாம்சங்கில் ஏஐயோட என்னென்ன ஏஐ யூஸ் பண்ணுறாங்க, அப்கமிங் ரிலீஸ் என்ன, இந்த மாதிரி இதெல்லாம் கேட்டு தெரிஞ்சுக்கலாம். பட் ரியலாக கேளுங்க, இதெல்லாம் பிரச்சனை இல்லை, ஃபன்னாக கூட கேளுங்க. உங்களுக்கு இங்கிலீஷ் தெரியலாம், தமிழ்லேயே கொஸ்டின் கேளுங்க. ஹி கேன் அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட் தமிழ்.
ஆமாம், ஓரளவுக்கு தமிழ் ட்ரை பண்ணுறேன் நான்.
ஓகே, தமிழ் கொஞ்சம் பேசுவான். ஸோ ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணிடலாமா? ப்ராப்ளம் இல்லை. இப்போ ஒரிஜினல் கொஸ்டின் உங்கள் மனசில் என்ன கொஸ்டின் இருக்கோ கேளுங்க. வீடியோக்கான இல்லை, என்ன கொஸ்டினாக கேட்கலாம். யூ கேன் ஏபிள் டு ஆன்சர். Okay,
cool. Thank you for the introduction, Hussain bhai. So I think Hussain sir has given exaggerated a bit about me, but yeah. So this is basically I'm working as Hussain sir solra mari nanu product manager work பண்றேன். இங்க எல்லாரும் have you worked முன்னாடி இதுக்கு முன்னாடி வந்து நீங்க சாஃப்ட்வேர் கம்பெனில யாராவது வர்க் பண்றீங்களா இதுக்கு முன்னாடி? கை காமிங்க. How many of you எவ்வளவு பேர் வந்து சாஃப்ட்வேர் எவ்வளோ பேர் இங்கே ஃப்ரெஷர்ஸ் மாதிரி இருப்பார்? மீனிங் இதுக்கு முன்னாடி ஒர்க் பண்ணல, இப்போ வந்து நெக்ஸ்ட் ஒரு ஜாப் தேடுறேன் அந்த மாதிரி கை. ஓகே, குட். லாட் ஆஃப் ஃப்ரெஷ் மைண்ட்ஸ் இங்கே, ரைட்? நைஸ் டு சி யூ ஆல். பேசிக்காக வந்து டுடேஸ் டாக் வந்து வில் டூ சம் ஹேபிட்ஸ் ஃபார் டெக் சக்ஸஸ். ஸோ ஐ நாட் ஒரு வந்து டீட்டெயிலில் நான் போக மாட்டேன். என்னென்ன டெக்னாலஜிஸ் அதுக்கு எல்லாத்துக்கும் வந்து தேர் ஆர் எக்ஸ்பர்ட்ஸ் ஃபார் இட். ஆஸ் எ ப்ராடக்ட் மேனேஜர் என்னோட ஒர்க் வந்து யூஸ்வலாக எல்லோரும் ஹாப்பி இருந்துட்டு சாஃப்ட்வேர் இன்ஜினியர்ஸ் அவர் நல்லா ஒர்க் பண்ணால் என்னோடய வேலை முடிக்கிற மாதிரி தான். தட்ஸ் மை மேஜர் ரோல், மேஜர் ஒர்க்கு. சாஃப்ட்வேர் இன்ஜினியர்ஸ் நல்லா வேலை பண்ணால் என்னோடய வேலை முடிஞ்சு போயிடுச்சு. அதே மாதிரி டிசைனர், சாஃப்ட்வேர் டிசைனர், ப்ராடக்ட் டிசைனர் சொல்லுவான், அவரோட டிசைன்ஸ் எல்லாம் நல்லா பண்ணால் என்னோடய வேலை முடிஞ்சு போயிடுச்சு. ஸோ ஐ வில் குவிக்லி டச் அ லிட்டில் பிட் அபவுட் வாட் இஸ் product management, little bit என்னோட background பத்தி சொல்றேன், and you can open at any point of time questions இருந்தா எனக்கு stop பண்ணிட்டு நீங்க உங்க questions கேளுங்க. Okay, as you can see here, or product, when you build a product, right, you have a combination of different teams working together. But why those teams will come? At the end of it, there is some stakeholder, there is a client, right? யார் உங்களுக்கு requirements தருவாரோ ஒரு client இருப்பார். அந்த client வந்து உங்களுக்கு requirements தருவார். And tell me something, who gets those requirements? Directly will the client speak to the engineer? Or what do you think happens in any kind of company? How do you get the problem statement? You need to work upon something, right? Let's say some work. How do you get that? Who is going to give that? You can speak, it's open. Business analyst, that's a good point. User feedback. How do you take user feedback? Okay, let's say forms. What else? Scrum master. Okay, that's also another option. Anyone from the back? Any opinion? You get some work to work as an engineer, right, in software companies. How do you get that work? We heard some response like business analyst, after that Scrum master. Who else? Who was selling ChatGPT? I heard GPT here. Okay, GPT won't give any requirements per se. It's just you will have some clients or someone like that. Okay.
Production based company good illa service based company edu better?
Any company irundhalum. It could be either product based company or service based company. Edu irundhalum. Okay. So at the end, the beginning is from a user end. Okay. The user will give you the needs. These needs can come either from a product based company naka, you will internally decide the product. But service based companies means you will have like TCS, Cognizant, and all these companies will have multiple clients, and those clients will give the requirement, and sometimes there will be multiple layers of information. Multiple layers naga, client vandu anga marketing team solluvaru, அந்த marketing team வந்து உங்களுக்கு சொல்லுவான், அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு டிஸ்டில் ஆகிட்டு உங்களுக்கு இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் வரும் சில டைமில். சம் ஆர்கனைசேஷன் வந்து ரொம்ப you will have very less structure. In that case, you will directly get the requirements. So, but having this user requirement is important. Otherwise, you will end up building something else. After that, you have really cool user needs. But let's say the business is having something other direction. Maybe unga finance director, unga CEO, vere mari is thinking otherwise. You would not be able to. You have to match both of them. Then you would be able to get the real requirements. And finally, technical constraints. This comes up a lot. In my previous organization, I've seen in my current role. What usually happens is that, let's say our team is only full of mobile developers, but the work has to be done in web stack technology, like something like PHP, and I don't have a PHP developer. Then obviously there are technical constraints there, right? And let's say I want to write something in Golang. I don't know. How many of you heard this language, Golang? Not ever, but you heard somewhere, right? So something like that. So there could be multiple technical constraints. So considering all that, the intersection of all these three things is what we need to decide and say, okay, this is what we are going to do in the next 2 months, next 3 months, and so on. That's typically the role of a product manager. So now you understand why the technology becomes handy, why I need to work with a lot of engineers, and why engineers as such are very important in this entire construct. Okay. And always I could say that product manager can work as a software engineer, and software engineer can become a product manager. That's a little bit about what a product manager does, because most of you are engineers, so I just thought I'll give you a quick introduction. So already Hussain sir has told a little bit about me. I also want to tell a bit about myself in my own words. I'm originally from Andhra Pradesh, the adjoining state. I've studied because I've always been curious about problem solving, exploring new places. So I joined NIT Trichy, which is of course very far away at 17, 18 years of age. I left my own state and came to a completely different state. I've always been curious about new cultures, new languages. Oralavukku Tamil theriyum, as you could make sense of it, and I can also understand. What this has taught me is, it has actually helped me in a lot of ways. Because I was able to learn a bit of this culture and new places, I've never been constrained about a particular region. எனக்கு இந்த கொடுத்தா தான் நான் ஜாபுக்கு போகிறேன், அந்த வேறு இடத்துல கொடுத்தா நான் போக மாட்டேன். ஐம் நாட் ஸோ ரிஜிட். இப்போ சென்னையில் இருக்கு நான் இப்போது மேபி கோயம்புத்தூர் போகணுன்னாக்கா ஐ மைட் பி ஓப்பன். இப்போது கேரளா போகணுன்னாக்கா again that is up to me. So why I'm telling you is that if you are aware of different cultures, different sets of people, it helps you to know like okay, this is what you other people behave. It also helps you to be defendant of yourself, right? You don't want to be in a corporate setup. There'll be cutthroat competition. If you know the different cultures, you know how to behave before them, right? What's probably acceptable, let's say in Chennai, may not be necessarily acceptable in, let's say, Delhi, right? Delhi behavior அங்கே இருக்கிற ஆள் கொஞ்சம் behavior தனியாக ஒரு டிஃப்ரெண்ட்டாக இருக்கும், இங்கே வந்து டிஃப்ரெண்ட்டாக இருக்கும். So all that will help you open and that way also anticipate new things when you go there. Okay, this is a bit about me. And I also learned some foreign languages on my own. Why the reason I'm telling you that is don't wait for others to tell you. Okay, if you want to be really successful or to some extent successful, one thing is that always start on your own. I'll also tell that a bit later in why I'm telling that. Always try to be, see for example, there was 1 year I had a gap year, okay, and during that 1 year what I did is instead of actually going a step back, I tried to be useful. Back then in the Mari or boot camp organization Uniq Technologies, you should be very thankful. In the Mari or organization irukku or structured ஆன approach கொடுக்குறார். இதே வந்து நீங்க இண்டிவிஜுவலாக போய் கத்தி கொடுக்கணும்னாக்கா it will take much longer for you, right? நீங்கள் யூடியூப்ல ஒரு வீடியோ ஓடியோ it will take much longer. And here you are getting a structured approach. So similarly, in my case, I have tried to be useful. நான் வந்து ஃப்ரீயாக I volunteered. நான் நிறைய விஷயங்கள் I've taken the initiative and did something on my own. அதனால் வந்து இமீடியட்டாக எனக்கு within few months எனக்கு சக்ஸஸ் கிடச்சிது. So even though I was not having job, I made sure that I'm always useful. I'm doing something on my own, taking initiative. So those things don't hold yourself back. If you want to take initiative, please come forward. That will help you a long way. Something I learned in my journey. As I said earlier, don't wait for others to tell you what to do. Come forward and try to do on things. Are you all following what I'm saying? Okay. Also, something you have to keep in mind is technology, things keep changing very fast. Every 2 years, every 3 years. For example, you could have graduated in 2022, right? Anybody 2022 graduates here? Okay, 22 graduates. Great. So between 2022 and 2026, a lot of things are changing, right? As you could see. So technology is something is going to change a lot and you have to be ready for that. After 3 years, after 10 years, things change. You should also develop certain good habits that will help you in the long run. Okay? It is not just, don't restrict yourself like, okay, or job kadcha, other than final destination, life. No, it keeps changing. As I said, like I had to reinvent myself multiple times. What I was doing abroad is a different career than what I'm doing currently. Because I'm able to continuously adapt myself to those situations, I'm able to thrive in this market. Again, it will get competitive. Tech industry, like it keeps changing. There are a lot of variables. You need to be really cutthroat and take away. If there's one thing you can take away from this is you have to continuously reinvent yourself, continuously keep working on yourself and so on and so forth. Okay. And that's why I say like you have to balance long-term thinking versus short-term thinking. Short-term thinking, you might think, okay, at the next 1 year ki focus up panna bore, but maybe over the next 4 years you might have something else. Oh, sorry. And anything you want to thrive in life, remember these 3 things: knowledge, intelligence, and passion. The reason knowledge is something you learn in a classroom. Intelligence is like you apply whatever knowledge you have. Continuous work panitrike irukno. Intelligence, you have to develop on your own. அது வந்து ஓரளவு கற்றுக் கொடுக்கலாம். பட் வந்து அதுக்கு you have to keep working on yourself, keep working on different problem statements, new problem statements. Also accepting failure is important in intelligence. Let's say, I don't know if you have solved puzzles, right? How many of you are in the habit of solving puzzles? Sala software company le taruvar. I don't know if you know this. They give puzzle like, okay, a man can do a work in aptitude questions, whatever you call them, right? Next level is puzzles. They'll say like, okay, there are 10 people on an island. There is one boat which can carry 2 people. and they'll give some order like this is the sequence and all, and you have to move from one island to other. And the mari puzzles பண்றீங்களா? If you are not doing, get into the habit of doing. Some companies still ask this. They want people to think on their own. Okay, so it's important that you get into the habit of solving important or difficult puzzles, because that's how you develop your intelligence. Knowledge you get, but intelligence is slowly you accumulate over time. And passion. I tell you a great example. Yesterday, I was coming in local train, and there were 5-6 people. They were really sitting with their phones, and all of them were as if they're meditating. And you know what they were doing? Huh? Yeah. They were all playing games. And I'll tell you how much they were so much into their world. You know, between the two, in the compartment, you have an aisle where you can walk. This is an aisle, right? And one guy was spreading his leg. And literally, I had to get down, and he's in his own world that he can't get his leg off. So they were so passionate in the gaming, right? And one thing you need to know that in order to thrive in any kind of industry, you need to have that passion for that. If you have that passion, learning or doing that thing becomes quite easier. One more thing I'll tell you, which is probably something related to passion. Some of you, I don't know, when we were quite young, what we used to do is, any new movie used to come, there were boys, we'll go to some torrent or something, download the movie and download it. You are so passionate that you are able to break all the bonds and do that, right? So similarly, if you want to thrive in your technology sector, you need to have an extreme amount of passion, good passion, that you want to get things done. You will see those patterns repeating a lot. Think of scientists like Elon Musk and a lot of several people who are really passionate of doing certain things in a certain way, that they put all their effort to make things possible. So figure out your things and keep your passion going up. Okay, when you combine these three things, your knowledge, your intelligence and passion, I think anybody will be able to do extremely good things. Okay, so some of things that are important, again, this looks quite weird, this is not a PT class, but I thought it is important to know that in your life, to get ahead in life, you also need to be physically fit. You have to be mentally stable. I mean, when I say you have to, and emotionally strong also. All these things will really help you in life to do things that you want. For instance, here we can help you get the knowledge, right? But the physically being great and emotionally being happy, avoiding situations where you are really frustrated, all those things are something that you'll have to work on yourself. Be in a good atmosphere where you are conducive, everybody are smiling. Those things are important as well. Okay. So all these things really contribute to your success. I've seen this in my work also. So combination of these three things are very important. A lot of companies are also stressing upon these kind of things. Okay. So I think I will open right now for Q&A. Like about as I said, what I'm doing at Flipkart, what I've done at Samsung. So that gives you a quick background about what I have done in my life. Now I open it for any kind of questions you may have with respect to product or technology.
I have one doubt about AI influence in development era. Okay. So நான் ஃப்ரண்ட் அண்ட் டெவலப்பராக இருக்கும்போது நான் வந்து எல்லாம் மேனுவலாக படிக்கிற மாதிரி இருந்துச்சு, ஸ்டாக் ஓவர்ஃப்ளோ அப்படின்ற மாதிரி ரொம்ப ரெஃபர் பண்ணிலாம் படிச்சுட்டு இருந்தேன். ஒர்க்கில் எனக்கு அப்போலாம் நிறைய தெரியவும் தெரியாது. ஸோ எப்படி என்னால் கற்றுக்க முடிஞ்சுது. பட் இப்போ இருக்கும் போதெல்லாம் ஏஐ வந்து ஒரு 5 minutes வந்து ஒரு ஃபுல் சாஃப்ட்வேரை ரெடி பண்ணி கொடுத்துருது. ஸோ அப்படி இருக்கும்போது நம்ம ஒரு டெவலப்மெண்ட் கற்றுக்கிறதுன்றது எந்த ஒரு அப்ரோச்சில் எந்த ஒரு ரோட் மேப்பில் கற்றுக்கிற மாதிரி இருக்கும், இல்லை நம்ம ஏஐ பக்கம் போகிறது தான் பெஸ்ட்டாக இருக்குமா, அது ஒரு பெரிய டவுட்டாகவே இருக்குது இப்போ இருக்கு எனக்கு.
Okay, I understand your question. So Pugal, right?
Yes.
Pugal has a question. Pugal is saying that earlier we used to spend hours and do the work, right? Front-end development. And now because of the AI, what is happening is that it is probably doing the work in 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Because of that, should I put in so much effort to learn all this front-end development or any back-end development is his question. Let me tell you that. That's a very important and a beautiful question. Look at this. This is a calculator, right?
Yeah.
Now, because calculator was available when you were 3 years, 4 years old, right? But did you skip your mathematics over the 12 years of school? Why?
Fundamentals.
Huh?
Fundamentals.
Fundamentals. So, tools are going to be there that are going to make your life easier. You have calculators, you have lift, you have a lot of other things. Lift to help you go from one floor to the other, right? Calculator to ease all kinds of a calculation. But despite that, you use your mathematics, you use your judgment, right? You still do those calculations. And why those are important? Those are fundamentals. So that you can tomorrow go and tell the machine that 2 plus 2 is 4 and 2 into 3 is 6, right? If you want to show something like that, and if you want your calculators to know, before the tools would know, you should be knowing it. So that way, knowing things on your own will actually help you a lot in order to guide the machines. Tomorrow, you don't know if an AI is doing the job correct or not. The role of humans would be like humans in the AI systems, or human in the loop is what we are typically call it in the industry world. So for that will be very important, that when computer is doing something, when AI system is doing something, what you are doing is actually correct or not, you can tell the system or not, is where your intelligence will help. And that's why being a good programmer becomes much more important now with the help of AI. Okay. Hope I answer your question.
சார் ட்ரெண்டு டெக்னாலஜி இம்ப்ரூவ் ஆகிட்டே இருக்குன்னு சொன்னீங்கல்ல,
ஆமாம்.
அவ்வளோ அந்த ஸ்பீடுக்கு நம்மளால் போக முடியுமான்னு தெரில. மேபி நம்ம அப்கிரேட் பண்ணிக்கிறோம் நம்மளை. ஆனால் இப்போ கரண்ட் சுச்சுவேஷனில் வந்து அதிகமாக வந்து க்ரைசிஸ் நடந்து ஹியூமன்ஸ்லாம் வச்சுக்க மாட்டோம், ஏஐ வருது ரீப்ளேஸ் பண்ணுது அப்படி இப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு இருக்காங்க. ஆனால் அந்த அந்த ஸ்பீடில் நம்மளால் போக முடியுமா, இல்லை ஃப்யூச்சர் டவுட்டாக கொஷினாக இருக்குதுன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்களேன். அதுக்கு எனக்கு தெரியல.
Okay. I don't know if you have heard him. Basically, our friend has a question. What he's saying is that, boss, the technology is evolving a lot, and sometimes it's evolving at a rapid pace. அதனால் வந்து நம்மனால் அந்த டெக்னாலஜி கேட்ச் பண்ண முடியுமா அந்த அளவுக்கு? செகண்ட்லி, even lot of crises are happening, lot of wars are happening. All those are also being like they are devoid of humans in some cases, right? This is what our friend's question is about. So here's my take. Of course, whatever can be automated over a period of time will get automated. Okay. Earlier, basic things that could be automated have got automated, like calculator and things like this. But the technology systems, if you know, the cloud computing is exponentially growing in the current sector, which means the importance of software engineers in those sectors also is going to increase. The work might be increasing, the kind of challenges they are going to face is going to increase there, right? So the role of an engineer can slightly increase. The impact and the depth of an engineer could increase in certain cases. Obviously, the number of people they are hiring might slightly differ. That may not be the same numbers. That said, now the important thing that one could be doing in order to avoid that uncertainty is to be abreast with the latest technologies of what is happening. Should be very well aware of what is happening in Claude, what is happening in GPT, Replit, all these AI tools. We should be making ourselves really aware, so that you can push ourselves to the maximum and we are industry ready. And I would also say that spend as much time doing things, building things. Building things has never been so easy in the world as it used as earlier, right? It is much easier these days to build things than பழைய காலத்தில் வந்து நீங்கள் என்ன பண்ணணும், ஒரு டொமைன் வாங்கணும், லாட் ஆஃப் திங்ஸ் யூஸ் டு பி தேர். ஒரு கோட் நீங்கள் சொல்கிற மாதிரி ஒரு 10 hours கோடு எழுதணும். பட் நவ் யூ டோன்ட் ஹேவ் டு ரைட் த கோட் அண்ட் ஆல் தட், ரைட்? இப்போ வந்து ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் இன் ஆர் கம்பெனி ஆல்சோ, ஒன் ஆஃப் த கம்பெனிஸ் வேர் ஐ ஒர்க், we are using internal tools for generating AI based code. So developers role has become much easier. அதுக்கு சேர்த்த மாதிரி அவர் ஒர்க் லோடையும் அதே மாதிரி ஜாஸ்தி ஆயிடுச்சு. முன்னாடி வந்து ஒரு வாரத்துக்கு வந்து ஒரு 3 டிக்கெட் சால்வ் பண்ணுவார். இப்போ வந்து மேபி ஒரு வாரத்துக்கு ஒரு 10 டிக்கெட் சால்வ் பண்ணுறாரு. ஸோ தட்ஸ் த டிஃப்ரென்ஸ் வி ஆர் அப்சர்விங் இன் த பிகாஸ் ஆஃப் AI. Things are uncertain, yes, but also make sure that you are preparing for the long term while keeping the short term in place. One way is that you could also look out on LinkedIn and other job portals of what are the roles that are being published. Keep following the current trends, you'd get an idea about it.
நான் ஃப்ரண்ட் எண்டில் வந்து ஒரு 5 days ஒர்க் பண்ணியிருக்கேன் சார். இப்போ வந்து ஏஐ வந்து ஃப்ரண்ட் எண்ட் ஃபுல் ஒர்க்குமே அதுவே பண்ணிடுது. ஸோ இப்போயும் ஃப்ரண்ட் எண்டுக்கு வந்து ஹோப்ஸ் இருக்கா?
Ranjit has a question. Ranjit is saying like he's worked in front end for 5 years and now lot of work is already getting done by AI. Now what will be the future of front end development is what you're saying, right? To an extent it's true that a lot of front end work is actually getting done by AI. So but as you could see there are also a lot of front end openings with AI, which means that if you are earlier you were developing, let's say, one website as I told in 1 month or in 15 days. Now the expectation is that you develop much more work in the same duration of time, which means you will also have to be very good with your AI tools and so on, so that you could work in such a way. The number of front-end developers could probably reduce with the kind of AI tools are there. That said, in certain technologies and so on, but the companies that are going to hire are also hiring you for greater productivity. So the more complex systems, the more better you get in delivering work, the better your chances are there to sustain the systems and to sustain in the long term as well.
சார் இன்னொரு கொஸ்டின் இருக்குது சார். இப்போ வந்து ஃப்ரண்ட் எண்டோட பேக் எண்ட் வந்து அதிகமாக படிக்கிறது பெட்டரா இல்லை ஃப்ரண்ட் எண்ட் மட்டும் படித்தாலுமே போதுமா?
Okay, good question. Front end should I do or back end should I do? I would say you do full stack. You do full stack. There is a reason for that. Because of AI, earlier நான் front end தான் பண்ணுவான், back end பண்ண மாட்டான், நான் back end தான் பண்ணுவான், front end பண்ண மாட்டான். You know, like in house construction you have this one guy's lifting the bricks, one guy's putting the cement, one guy's raising the pillars. You see that, right? Pillar போட்டால் வந்து பெயிண்ட் பண்ண மாட்டாரு, அதுக்கு எனக்கு சம்மந்தம் இல்லை அந்த மாதிரி சொல்லுவேன். பட் பிகாஸ் ஆஃப் ஏஐ வாட் இஸ் ஹேப்பனிங் இஸ் ஆல் த ரோல்ஸ் ஆர் கெட்டிங் லாட் blurred and this is being tried in lot of product companies in Bangalore. They are saying developers to do the product management, product managers to do the coding part, deploy, which is usually done by DevOps team, right? There is deployment part of it. In big organizations what happens is that deployment of code is done by DevOps. You know DevOps team, right? Kelvi pattiringla DevOps pattiti. So in bigger organizations DevOps pannar chinna company la vandu developer ella pannuvar. So the roles are getting blurred there. So the better thing is that you know technologies as much as possible and you also are willing to do the more part. If you are ready for more, you are always in demand. Okay, think of our current CM. Did he stop with his success? No, right? He had success in 2010. Adikapram he gave a lot of hits, and even after all those hits again he aimed for a new role and again he became very successful. So don't restrict yourself with only front end or back end. That's what I am trying to tell from the beginning. Don't restrict yourself, be open for new things. If there's an opportunity to learn, have the passion, gain the knowledge, and intelligence is something that you can evaluate yourself and automatically you will find yourself intelligent will come with you when you have the combination of two. The remaining third one you will try to find it somewhere. Okay,
இப்போ இருக்க டெக்னாலஜிஸ்க்கு ஏற்ற மாதிரி நம்ம ஸ்கில்ஸை எப்படி அப்டேட் பண்ணிக்கிறது?
yeah, so your question is that now given the current situation, how do we update ourselves in skills with the technologies that we are having right now, right? Obviously you are studying in a classroom setup, that's a great way. You have a structure to it, you have a habit to it, right? If I am in a house, I don't have this structure. You're glad you're having the structure. The second thing that you should be doing is that you do a lot of hands-on projects. You deploy one website, you do a lot of hands-on doing, your hands-on work. That way you get to discover a lot of things yourself. The third thing which developers don't usually do, but a lot of American developers do this, they write a lot. You write it in whatever language you're comfortable. English lo ella mudiyumnaka you write your thoughts on a topic. When you write yourself, you'll get a lot of clarity, whether it be in a topic or maybe about a project requirements. When you put thoughts together, reread it, I think you will get some clarity. Even while preparing for this, I've done some research myself and it gave me some clarity. So always do these two things. One is you learn, either you learn in a structured setup like this, that's great, or if you are not having structured setup, try to find some mentors and try to learn, it is much faster. The second thing is that do something. When you do something, you learn much faster. And the third thing is that if you can develop a habit of writing, obviously as product manager, I'm expected to write a lot. If you write a lot, you will also learn a lot. Okay, writing and of course complemented with speaking and things like this. Now writing, again, I leave the choice to you. You want to write on a blog, you write on a blog. You have other websites, freely available websites like Notion. I don't know if you have used Notion blogs are there, you could write there. You could also use LinkedIn to write your information. You get feedback there. Use all these mediums to get yourself updated and put your thoughts together. Okay? Twitter is also another place where you can write something, daily form a habit, okay, first day of learning, second day of learning, and see where it goes, okay?
Actually, people are saying like, I'll be preferring a product-based company. May I know the difference between product-based company and service-based company?
Yeah, sure.
The only thing I know is I'll prefer product-based company only for a salary.
Okay. What's your name?
Aishwarya.
Aishwarya. So, your classmate Aishwarya has got a question. What is the difference between a product-based company and a service-based company? And like we would obviously, she's in her language, she wants to work for a product-based company. Anybody else also probably wants to work for a product-based company, primarily because they pay you well, right? That's our point of view. There are pros and cons to both the approaches. Okay, you need them both per se. Can you list a few service-based companies? Anyone here? Infosys. What else? TCS, Wipro, Cognizant, HCL, Dream Job, HCL, Accenture. Yeah. All these are service-based companies. And some of the product-based companies? Amazon, Zoho, Flipkart, Samsung also, Zomato, very nice. Almost all the apps you have are all product-based companies, right? Telegram, insanely good company. Meta, as you said. So one thing cool about both of them are really cool in their own aspects, right? I should say that service-based companies are there. That's why I think lakhs of people are coming to cities like Chennai, Bangalore, Mumbai and trying to make their livelihoods, right? At least in India, because we are working for our US-based clients. Obviously, as you said, in a product-based company, the salaries are likely to be more. That's a general thing, that's average. But I've seen a lot of product-based companies offering very low salaries also. You should know that Zomato, you told Zomato, right? Zomato in its initial days was paying extremely low salaries way back in sometime in 2008, 2010 or something like that. So while product companies usually pay more, you would also come across certain product-based companies that actually pay less. So don't be surprised with that. That said, product-based companies usually have their own internal products to work for. Okay? They're working for a consumer-based product like an app, or they are working for internal rider system like a Zomato kind of company. Or if you take a company like PhonePe, you have a payment system, gold loans, lot of all their products will be internal based or right for their customer, direct customer, which would be either a client in case of a SaaS company, or it could be an end consumer. That part is clear, right? In product-based companies, you would have mostly consumer products, or you could have B2B products. B2B products like Zoho, like somebody has mentioned, right? Zoho will have enterprise customers, like maybe Uniq Technologies could be a customer of Zoho. Why? Because they use Zoho email and so on and so forth. Work culture wise, I would say that it depends upon company to company. For example, some companies may have only 5 days work day. Again, that was usually something product companies used to do a lot, but right now even service-based companies are slowly going in that approach. Why? Because their clients somewhere sitting in the US want them to behave like that. Okay. That is one thing. Work culture wise, I think product-based companies tend to be slightly better. Again, that's the average. You'll always find outliers. Outliers means, I hope you get it. Like you'll find extremes of both the scenarios. Another difference I've observed is with respect to the manpower, service-based companies tend to have larger headcounts compared to product-based companies. One possible reason is that they have more client service-based companies. That's why they tend to have more engineers, more developers, and so on. The other difference between a product-based company and a service-based company is that product-based companies usually don't have a buffer of what you call bench system. You don't have a bench system there. Whereas in a service-based company, maybe like Accenture might think like, okay, we'll put this guy on a bench for 1 month, and after 1 month, we'll try to see if we can push him into another project. That kind of job security is better in case of a service-based company than a product-based company. So you have both pros and cons working for a service-based company versus product-based companies. Obviously, the pace at which the product-based companies are going to work is going to be much, much faster and much more rigorous. I've been working in product-based companies. I can definitely tell that skills are secondary, but the intelligence-wise, people are way smarter, really smart. And smart people willing to do long hours of work. That's also an important aspect of working for product-based companies. All these product-based companies that you hear about that have become so successful that it's on your tongue, right? Zomato, Razorpay, PhonePe, Grow app, what else? YouTube. They have worked extremely hard in order to reach a place. Samsung, for instance, the phones, LG, all these companies are working so hard day in, day out. So you should be ready for that kind of rigor. You can't work for 3 hours, 4 hours a day and say, okay, next 4 hours, we'll just go for coffee, we'll go for breaks. It's going to be rigorous, 9 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours of rigorous work, demanding, learning new things on the moment. You can't really say with the things that you learned 2 years முன்னாடி அது வந்து வேலைக்கு ஆகாது. Okay, you're getting it right. I wouldn't say learning will stop in a product-based companies. Obviously, you would be working on one single product that's there, but they might be using technologies very quickly. That could be another aspect of it. Last thing I would like to tell you, the difference between product-based companies and service-based companies are lot of product-based companies are usually like people are looking for like-minded people. You know that concept, right? So நிறைய product-based companies வந்து what they look for people are also from other product-based companies. And service-based people also look for people who are from service-based background. That can also happen. Okay. One more important thing is that you will find a lot of product-based companies in Bangalore than in Chennai. At least in 2026. Maybe in future things can change, right? So if you go into product-based companies, your salary aspect, your compensation aspect, all these things could be good to at an average level, but you may also be expected to move to different places as well. Be open-minded for that. Service-based companies, I would say that Chennai is really, really strong in that place. Chennai on the ekapata service-based companies. You go to OMR Road, you've seen that, right? Full of service-based companies. Hell lot of service-based companies. Even here, Gindi you go, Saidabad you go, you find them everywhere in Chennai. Even Coimbatore you're finding a lot. So I think from a sustaining point of view, service-based companies you find a lot. You have a question?
Hi sir, myself Satish. இப்போ
Satish, right?
சதீஷ்.
Okay, Satish.
மார்வல் மூவிஸ்லலாம் டோனி ஸ்டார்க் அதாவது அயன்மேன் வந்து ஜார்விஸ் ஃப்ரைடேன்னு 2 ஏஐ அசிஸ்டன்ட் வச்சுருப்பாங்க.
ஓகே.
இப்போ ஃப்யூச்சர் வந்து ஏஐ பேஸ்டாக போயிடுதுன்னா அந்த மாதிரி ஏஐ அசிஸ்டன்ட்லாம் ஒரு கிளைண்ட் கிட்ட கிடச்சிருச்சுன்னா அவங்க ஒரு கம்பெனியை அப்ரோச் பண்ண மாட்டாங்களா? அப்போது ஃபுல் ஸ்டாக் வந்து யூஸ்லெஸ்ஸாக போயிருங்களா சார்?
Okay. Your point is that as you observed in science fiction movies like Iron Man, where he's saying that the Iron Man or Tony Stark, his alter ego, actually has 2 AI assistants, and apparently they discuss with all the clients and get the requirements, right? That's what you say?
Yes, sir.
And similarly, if that's going to be the case, if AI assistants are going to do all the job, the full stack engineering will become zero, is what his question is. See, I would say that again the role of engineer is going to change definitely. over the next 5 years. It's not going to be the same as it is today, and it's not this what we are doing today in some organizations is not the same what they were doing in 2021 before, let's say, AI. So obviously ANL role is going to increase, which means an AI engineer will have to do much more work. So that's going to be there. Whether it's going to become zero, my hypothesis is that not just mine, there are a lot of experts also who say that the engineer is not going to become zero, because it's going to transform into a full stack AI engineer kind of thing, who will be managing multiple systems, who's far more clever, who knows a lot of technologies. So someone who's really smart to learn all the different technologies will definitely be ahead of someone who's actually not learning enough and who's lagging behind. Okay? A classic example I'll tell you. How many of you have heard of COBOL software? COBOL, Pascal, VBA. They're pretty arcane technologies. Maybe they are operating system. They've been pretty old. In COBOL, I've done programming long ago. How many of you know COBOL here? Have you heard of COBOL sometime? Did anyone work here on COBOL anytime? No, right? So some technologies are going to get replaced by new ones. So the only way to get ahead is to actually update yourself continuously. If the programming is now going to be better at prompting, you will learn better prompting. And only way is to get ahead in life. As of now, I think that's what I would suggest. Obviously, the future is a bit uncertain. It's a lot of AI things. We'll wait, but we'll continuously update ourselves with what is actually happening right now. A classic thing that I could do in my current company, in my previous role, alluding to what he said, is that I was not invited into an AI project, okay, and I didn't know AI before. But I volunteered myself, went into an AI project and started contributing there. And after I started contributing there, my AI knowledge, some extent I had some knowledge about it. After that, I started learning on my own. Okay, that way I'm able to complement my AI skills and also the work that I'm doing. So you should volunteer for those kind of things, so that you become future ready with what you have in the current scenario. Okay? But that's one more important point. Always, we should not ignore the science fiction that is happening, because science fiction somewhere suggests that something is likely to be feasible, right? 30-40 years ago, there was a book, a very famous book, something around Hitchhikers to Galaxy or something like that. This is about space and things like those. And there was a small kid somewhere in South Africa who was reading all those books. And luckily, that small kid who had worked on all those books, who was reading all those books, today is a trillionaire. His name is Elon Musk. You should have heard of him, right? Why he's doing so extremely well is that all the science fiction, all his curiosity in physics, all his interest in those space and all those things are right now being put in, right, what he's building in space. So all these kind of new things that are being built are very important and are paving a way for the future. So having that kind of intuition and having those interest and combining that passion and intelligence is extremely important. Once again, that's one of the things that I spoke in the first slide. Okay. I hope I answer your question. I hope I answer your question. So just to summarize, AI is, because of AI, our tech field is disrupting a lot. And when it comes to product management, obviously it is a function of user requirements, business constraints and technology. Only then you can make good product in place. Okay. After that, what else? You're saying something.
நம்ம வந்து ஃப்ளெக்சிபிளாக இருக்கணும், ரிஜிடிட்டியாக இருக்கக்கூடாது.
Yeah, very important point. One of the things that you can take away from this session is that you have to be flexible in a lot of ways. Flexible in the sense, maybe you are open for relocation, maybe you are open for a new technology, because with the facts that we have, we are doing something. But tomorrow, you may have new facts, something is changing somewhere. In Silicon Valley, something has changed. And because of that, effect will be somewhere in Chennai, obviously, right? and then you have to be adaptable for that. For example, there's war somewhere in Middle East, but the impact is felt in Chennai. So you could have an impact. The world is more connected in lot of ways. So anything that is happening somewhere will definitely have an impact here. So you have to be ready and be adaptable for all the new things in place. Very important point. Across different ways, you have to be flexible. In terms of technology, in terms of, I don't know, cultures. You've been doing things in a certain way, but tomorrow onwards, because you realize that this is not going to work, you have to do a completely different way of doing things, right?
சார் இப்போ ஜாவா பைத்தான்னு 2 லாங்குவேஜ் இருக்குது. இப்போ பைத்தான் மிஷின் லேர்னிங் கண்டென்ட் வந்தோடனே அது கொஞ்சம் பீக்கில் போச்சு. அகைன் இப்போ ஜாவாவில் ஜென்ஏ கண்டென்ட் வந்தோடனே அது பீக்கில் போகுது. ஃப்யூச்சரில் எது சார் பெஸ்ட்டாக இருக்கும், ஜாவாவா பைத்தானா சார்?
I think I'll not be able to comment best on this because I'm not a software architect. Okay, I'm not a solution architect or engineering manager to comment on this question, which technology will be best or not. But what I know of my limited understanding, I've worked on these technologies. Java I've worked upon, and Python has been worked, especially in the data science field. So I can tell something. So a lot of the old systems, right, that have been developed in 1990s or let's say 2000, early 2000s, and even between 2010 and 2015, all still swear by Java. They are all built on Java. Okay, so this is not going to move away very soon. These technologies are going to stay there for a while. Obviously, Python has got lot of flexibility. Lot of libraries are there. It makes what code you write in a big block is right now maybe a one-liner, right? So things are much easier in Python. That said, Java is still the single trusted source in a lot of big companies, and they're not going to migrate their code very soon. So that way, Java requirement is going to be there. Now, how do you compare yourself with the rest of the developers? That is something that you may need to work on yourself. That's what I would tell at this stage. Both of them are good. You don't speculate this technology is good or that technology is bad. Obviously, you have to be open-minded to learn, because most of the one thing you should know, Satish, as an engineer, that somebody tells, hey, learn this and it is going to, your life is settled. It is good to start with that technology, but don't be skeptical in learning. You should be skeptical to continue with that language over a period of time. For example, the ones who have been successful in programming are the ones who either learnt lot of good, they have taken one language, they have done extremely well in that language to the extent that they know the entire system, how they work. That way they are able to grow in their role and become, like, from a junior developer they become senior developer, from senior developer they become engineering manager, from engineering manager they went to VP and all that. That's not only because of technology. If you remember, there was one slide where there was one human body, I put one mental effort and I put emotion, right? So don't let your emotions actually help your they should not affect your learning capabilities. Okay, what you should be doing is you learn technology well, get into a good Java company without having doubts, because Java roles are being hired even now a lot. Get there and develop the system architecture and system thinking as you go. You should know how different systems are working with one another. There are load balancers, a lot of technical things in systems. You know about systems? Huh? You know, right? So that's why I said something in the beginning that also learn to do things on your own. When you work, you know how this is interacting with another system. Programming is probably 60% of your job. Deployment and how different systems are interacting with another will be 30-40%. How the APIs are interacting, how the systems are interacting. All those are very important skills too. Okay, so those things will help you grow in your career as a manager and grow in your career. The other ways, you learn different technologies that will help you laterally grow. Meaning you've been a Python developer for 3 years and now your company asks you to do something else in that similar role, then you become something else as an individual contributor. Okay, so both of them have their own paths, both of them have their growth trajectories. People have been doing it and people continue to do that. Okay? But important thing is to grow yourself at all levels. You have to be mentally strong, you have to be intelligent, you have to be having a lot of passion in what you're doing, so that you learn the system, adjoining fields also. Don't just do yourself or restrict yourself.
குட் ஈவினிங் சார்.
Good evening.
தேங்க்யூ ஃபார் த ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டி. ஐ ஆம் a ஸ்மால் டவுட். நான் ஒரு 5 வருஷம் கம்பெனி ஒர்க் பண்ணேன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்களேன். ஒர்க் பண்ணிட்டு கம்பெனியில் ஒர்க் பண்ணிட்டு நான் ஓனாக கம்பெனி ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணலாம் இருப்பேன்.
ஓகே.
அப்படின்னா நான் எந்த மாதிரி இதாக ஃபேஸ் பண்ணுவேன், எந்த மாதிரி இதாக ஃபேஸ் பண்ணுவேன்? மேக்ஸிமம் எல்லாரும் என்ன பண்ணுறாங்க, அவங்க ஏதோ ஒரு கம்பெனியில் போயிட்டு ஒர்க் பண்ணணும் அப்படின்னு நினைக்கிறாங்க. யாருமே நம்ம ஸ்டார்ட் அப் கம்பெனி தான் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணலாம், ஏதோ ஒரு கம்பெனி டைப் வச்சுக்கலாம் அப்படின்னு ஒர்க் பண்ணுறாங்க. அவங்களோட மைண்ட் செட் எப்படி இருக்கும் நீங்கள் சொல்லுங்கள் சார் கொஞ்சம்.
Okay. So, your name please?
கலையரசன். எம் கலையரசன்.
Okay. Kalayarasan, right?
Yes.
Kalayarasan has an important point, saying like, we are all working in companies. Why not actually skip all that and start a company after a while, right? That's what you're thinking. You want to work for 3-4 years and start it. I would say Hussein sir would be better able to answer that question, because he is himself running a company. Our company vechittikar. But I'll tell with whatever knowledge I have. Okay. Y'all are thinking on that lines. Just raise your hands. Kai coming, yaar andha mari think pandra. Kai, okay, fine, cool. So one thing good is that one important skill between being an entrepreneur and a developer. Tell me one skill which is common between an entrepreneur and a, let's say, software engineer. Take risks. Problem solving is very important. Yes. What else? நீங்க சொல்லுங்க. Think about it. ஒரு entrepreneur, ஒரு business பண்ற ஆளுக்கும் and you can say that, ஒரு business பண்ற ஆளுக்கும் ஒரு software engineerக்கும் என்ன similarity இருக்கு? Contrary, the difference is obvious. Don't tell the differences. Similarities என்ன இருக்கு? Dreaming, the way they think. Vision, you saying about the vision, having a vision, having a product vision, or having a business vision or something like that. Similarly, engineers also have a software vision. That's what you're trying to tell, right? Okay. What? Adaptability. Yes, adaptability is a 100% important thing. Like I don't know if you follow movies, they say method acting, right? Similarly, அதே மாதிரி வந்து இங்கே adaptability ரொம்ப இம்பார்ட்டன்ட். ஒரு கம்பெனியில் போவோம், அங்கே வந்து கல்ச்சர் ஒரு மாதிரி இருக்கும். எக்ஸாம்பிள், முன்னாடி கம்பெனியில் வந்து ஒரு கூகுள் கால், ஒரு காலில் போனால் எப்போவுமே யூ ஷுட் புட் யுவர் வீடியோ ஆன். இந்த கம்பெனியில் போனால் யூ ஷுட் நாட் புட் யுவர் வீடியோ. நோபடி ஆக்சுவலி புட் their video on the online call. So adaptability is important. That's just an example. Okay, what else? Time management, so much important. This is probably very important. Time management, very important. It is more important than your money, because money, you know how much money is, your balance is like, but time, you don't know how much time is left yet. Every second passes away. It's the most precious currency. But I'll tell you one more important thing from this classroom point of view. The similarity, obviously, all things that you mentioned, right? Problem solving, having a vision, time management, adaptability, all these are very important. Another thing that is common between a software engineer and an entrepreneur is being able to sell yourself. It's a very important skill. What I mean by selling is that in a software company, every day you should come, you do your work, but your work should be shown. முன்னாடி மாதிரி கிடையாது. ஓகே, காலையில் வந்தால் ஐ புட் சம் பிரிக்ஸ், இட்டுக்கு போட்டுட்ருக்கேன், சிமெண்ட் போட்டால் அவ்வளோதான், பாருங்கள், நான் சொல்ல வேண்டாம், இவ்வளோ கன்ஸ்ட்ரக்ட் ஆகிட்டு இருக்கேன். நோ, இன் சாஃப்ட்வேர் கம்பெனி யூ கோ அண்ட் டெல் திஸ் இஸ் த அமௌண்ட் ஆஃப் ஒர்க் ஐ டூ. ஹவு டு யூ சே? யூ ஸ்பீக் டு யுவர் மேனேஜர், ஆர் யூ ஸ்பீக் சம்வேர் இன் தேர் வில் பி சாட் சேனல்ஸ். அந்த சாட் சேனலில் போடுங்க, டுடே somehow try to use that. If you have done your work, you tell you have done and assign it to quality agent to do the testing. You're getting it? So that way your work is shown. Okay, this is done from my side. Quality agent, unnod vela no, how do you say that? Your work, you do that. You have to assign it to others. Adhe mari vandu in interview, you have to sell yourself, right? நான் இதெல்லாம் பண்ணி வச்சுட்ருக்கேன், இது எல்லாம் பண்ண போகிறேன். தட்ஸ் வாட் யூ ட்ரை டு டூ இன் த என்டையர் 1 hour. அதுதானே பண்ண போகிறீங்க எல்லாரும், ரைட்? இதெல்லாம் பண்ணி வச்சுட்ருக்கேன், இது பண்ண போகிறேன், நான் கிட்ஹப்பில் இது பண்ணால், இது ப்ராஜெக்ட் பண்ணால், இந்த காலேஜில் படித்தா இது பண்ணால் அது பண்ணால், all that, it is all part of selling. So this is a very important aspect between your software engineer and an entrepreneur, being able to sell yourself. Okay, and as an entrepreneur you sell yourself, you sell your product. Okay, now coming to how you could take the baby steps, you have free time after you're studying, after doing your work. You would probably focus some hours in order to do those experiments, get the revenue, and take that as an input to take the next steps. Okay? You should also develop certain unfair advantages. I think that is slightly beyond the scope of this classroom. I can connect later to discuss that, or maybe you can discuss with Prakash sir also. He's also an entrepreneur. You can also discuss things with him after the session. All right, folks. I think I really enjoyed speaking with you folks, and I think you have got some takeaways from today's session. And I'll be here for 5 minutes if you want to catch up in person, discuss anything in general. I'm more than happy to discuss. Thank you, folks.